Hello and welcome back to my devlog series about my Unity game Final Exit. Where we left off, we were looking at converting all these JavaScript files into C# files, and I haven't been through the entire game, but I've gone through pretty much everything, finding where these scripts were and replacing them when the basics work. I haven't fully played the game. Because there's just so many parts to it. I was talking about how the remaining things in this list here haven't been converted. Now it doesn't mean they all need to be done, because over time you do lots of little test things, usually called test, and they might not even be needed. I guess probably the easiest way to figure out if they're needed or not is upgrading to a new Unity version, and in the new Unity version it won't load the JS files. And does the game still work? If it doesn't, there'd be like you click something here and it'd be like I'm missing a script, and then I'll just refer back to this current project to see what's missing. I mean, I could do that. I mean, I was potentially thinking of maybe just sort of going through, showing the game a bit more, which would be handy, and what things, how it works, and how I approach things, what all the different blocks do, and how the game plays. And then maybe while we do that, I might find things in here that have JS files attached to them. So I think to begin with, as long as the frames per second thing holds up, because it's been getting a bit better, it's still not most ideal until I upgrade and start really optimizing things. Which is strange, because when you go onto the iPhone it was brilliant, really smooth. So anyway, let's not get caught up in that. I think if I just sort of go through all the different blocks, and there's a few here, this is all of them, and sort of go through how they work. Not just like in terms of a gameplay point of view, but in terms of how the engine works for that particular block. Because there's different blocks, they have different properties, they do different things, they react to different things. So I think if we sort of go by bit and explain that. So begin with, it's just the normal block, the yellow one. This is just literally, let's start it up. So you knock the block, you push it over if you like, or it gets hit by another block, and it'll literally just roll once, like in the real world basic physics. My god, is that running really terribly bad? It is. I apologise for this. This will get fixed. So as this is slow for me, it's going to be even slower when the recording kicks in. So anyway, so a yellow block is simply you push it over, bing bing bing, hits the goal block. I'll go through this diamond goal thing at the moment. That is a placeholder, I think, and I'll explain how this all works. Just speaking about how earlier I was looking at maybe suggesting rigid bodies and things. The way that fell over, that was driven by an animation clip, and if you've seen my earlier videos, that they're driven by these different clips. So if there was nothing like that goal block there has played a different animation because there was nothing next to it. It's landed completely on the ground. Whereas these ones, as there was something next to it, they've played a slightly different animation, which is what all of these are. So if I just sort of look at the let's just get this one that we were converting. So here's my old JavaScript here. Here's a C# one. It's still very messy. I haven't done a lot of cleanup. I've just done pure conversion at the moment. So there's loads of test stuff in there. There's commented stuff out there. Very messy. But on trigger is how it's called. So all the main engine is done on trigger. This event here, this function. So for instance, if let's just restart this one. Wow, that is terribly slow. Oh, add thing. Don't worry about that. We're not on iPhone. So for instance, when you press the push, and do it there. I'll just pause it. When it pushes it, he hits that block. Let me just try and move this out of the way. He hits that block, which calls the on trigger event. So on a block, let's just click that. right, so he has a rigid body attached to it and a collider. And you see that his trigger is activated, so it'll only sort of detect the collision when this is trigger event tick box is there, which allows for this to be called. So when that collides and he hits that, oh my God, there's so much stuff now, I don't know if I'm going to find that, but let me see if I can remember how this works. Is it something like that? No. Oh no, it's something. It's going back a while, isn't it? Let's see if I can remember how this works. Right, something like that. Right, simply, there's only 101, so there it is. So, I think Dom meant domino back then, just the word block. So, I'm saying if the next, Dom next means what's happening next. So let's just start that again. So if you were to be here and push into that block, the next block there is a block. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So basically you're saying when it's triggered, if the next block here is a block, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. If it is, then play an animation. All it simply is play an animation. I've got little testers in to say if it's basically falling left or right, clean up some variables and stuff, but it literally is find out what is the block after the one you're pushing and play the relevant animation. Now the reason you want to know is what's next is because this block could fall onto this one and only play a slight animation, or it could be not this way and it will land completely on the floor. So for example, just to show you the difference, if it's not obvious, if I push this yellow one like so, obviously you can't see, so that's come up, sorry. Its next one was a block. So Domex's block, it would have played this animation, rotate left forward, which it has. Okay. However, if I was to push the other way, things are never quick enough when you want them to be, are they? Wheel of death. So if I was to push this way, as there was nothing, sorry, as there was nothing next to it there, it plays the full animation. So, or to the, yeah, or to the flooring. Sorry. And so I think this is going back a while. I think empty. Right, so there's a few there. This is where it starts getting a little bit iffy, not iffy, but tricky. But it's something like this. You know, if the next one is empty, meaning there's nothing there, then you play this basic. You play this animation, and that's pretty much the whole engine. Even though there's absolutely tons of lines of code, that's the basic premise. And it happens a few times because there's a few different ways things can happen. But that's basically how it works. Push a block, the engine then decides what's the next block so it knows what to do. Obviously, if you use rigid bodies and the physics in here, it kind of deals with itself, but I've been over why I haven't used that. Now that DOM next, if you like, variable there, where am I getting that from? And that is a very good question, because I should have organised this a bit earlier before I jumped into this. I'm sure that's probably a function somewhere. Look how completely unorganised I am. Right, so the next one is find the next block. I mean, it's pretty simple. There we go, and it returns the name of it. So let's just go and find out where that function is. There we go. So in here, in this main logic. So basically, every time you push a block, it will search for this first, so it can find out what the next one is, so it can then call the appropriate animation clip. So, if I remember, looking back at it might not be the best way. This is all really messy and needs cleaning up. So to begin with, what I used to do was do a huge loop or a find all based on a tag, all the blocks in the scene, and it could be 3 blocks, it could be 100 blocks. Go through them all, work out if you're 2 units, 1, 2 units left or right of this block, you're on the same Y height. If you are, you know you're the next block, which works, but you can imagine that could be quite slow if you've got 100 blocks or something like that and you don't want to slow the game down at all. So I then got rid of all that and started doing little overlap sphere. So overlap sphere, if you know what that is, it takes the center, which is the current block you're pushing, and does like a virtual circle around it, and anything in that circle, or sphere, sorry, because we're in 3D, sphere, it returns it. So if I push that block based on a radius of 3, it does this sort of, so you don't see it, it's like a virtual thing, and any object it collides with, or intersects with, if you like, is returned. And then you can sort of say anything that's returned, is it of a tag block, which it is, because you don't want to sort of include the character, the platforms, God knows what else could be in the scene. And then basically just saying, are you left or right of it? Are you on the same Y height? Blah blah blah. You know, there's a few little bits, loads of random bits and bobs that you're cleaning up. And if it is, it then returns it, and that's your DOM next variable. Now, looking back on things, I'm sure it could be far more optimized, and all the blocks could have been an array or maybe a list that could be dynamically updated and stuff, and you could just easily whiz through the list. I'm sure that would probably be a lot cleaner. You could just literally loop through the list. But I mean, again, also, if you've got 100 blocks looping through the list, is that quicker or slower than just doing a little overlap sphere? I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I'm not a hardcore programmer really knows. You know, I'd sort of do it. If it works, why change it? I mean, unless it's really slow, then change it, of course. But you know, I mean, this works. So when you push it, it does a circle around there, see what it encapsulates. Oh, it then works. If you're pushing it left, it will then check to see if the block's left, because there's no point in doing a circle check and you see one there, but you're pushing left. It's pointless. So that's the real basics of the simple block. Things get a bit more tricky when I show you the other blocks, or when you're on the edge of a platform, different things happen, or you hit an exploder or a bridge or a split. I mean, there are many things. This is the basic block, and I won't. Well, actually, so if you were to go and push these, obviously it's going to be game over as soon as I do it. But as soon as you push it, you just come back out of here. So you've pushed this one, and you can see they're all laying down. So when you push this one, it checks around it. Oh, there's one next to me, so I'll just play this almost like the leaning one. This one goes, oh, there's one there, play the leaning one. This one goes, oh, I've been hit. There's nothing to the side of me in that direction. There is in that direction, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing there, but there is a platform there, so I will play the animation where I rotate and lay down. Now, if there was no platforms there, so if I just go back to this view, if, say, there were none there, that would still check empty, but I would then have to detect, oh, is there a platform there as well? And so it gets more tricky. So then you're detecting whether there's a platform and the block falls off. Anyway, I will go into that one in a bit more detail next. I hope some of that made sense. I am whizzing through it fairly, quickly. That's the basics of it. I think the next video, I will jump onto the next block to show you. But to give you a quick idea, everything's in sort of roughly every 10 levels opens up a new world and you get a new block. So you get like 10 levels to almost learn what each block does. So if I just whiz through some of these, they're all fairly similar. You've got to learn how to pick them up, move them in the least amount of time. You know what? While we're here, I'll explain this falling off one. So if let's play the game. So the guy should start at the top. Right. So if I push this guy right here, he will see that there's nothing to the right of him, of the block that you're pushing in that direction. So it'll lay to the floor, and it does. If I was just to sort of move it, just as an example, oh well, that's still working, isn't it? Okay, if I was to push it there, and it knows to go left because the character is to the right of it and it's pushing left. It knows there's nothing there next to it, but there is a platform, so it lays flat. Now, what if we push the one on the left of the platform? It does the encapsulate sphere, sorry, can't speak. And it knows there's going to be nothing there, so it should lay flat. However, I'm also doing detection of, is there a platform, these blocks here, where it's rotating to? If it is, lay flat. If it's not, then fall downwards. So you rotate all the way around in an animation clip. Then I do a translation animation in script to move it downwards. Now, if this row of platforms is all the way down here, it will just keep falling till it hits something. So in the code I say rotate, then fall all the way down. When it hits the platform, land, then do another detection of block next to see if there's a block to the left or right of you. If there is, same as normal. If there's a block there, rotate the block, to lean on it. If it's not, lay it flat on the ground. Or if it's another edge of a platform, fall off the platform and keep falling until you hit a new platform. The great thing is, even though there's a lot of different logic statements that are happening, it's very sort of dynamic. You can keep building all these levels, and have as we go through them all. And there's so many different scenarios for all these blocks to happen, and it all works. But the basics is there something next to you? No, rotate to the floor or fall to the ground. If there is something there, knock into it or bounce off it. So for instance here, you push into this one, that one will fall off, fall to the ground. Oh, and it doesn't. Well, it does. So that is moving incredibly slowly. I think when I've copied my JavaScript to my C# file, I may have got maybe something wrong. But when that finally does land, it will knock into it and should continue. Yeah, there we go. So I've obviously broken something there, which is quite funny. But if you can see past that for a minute, you can see how it works. Now, if this platform here was, all the way down here, it would just still keep falling, rotating into it. So what I think I'll do is maybe go fix that. That was very strange. It's just literally got a decimal point or something in the script was set to say speed of 5, but in the inspector I set it to 50 and that's not being copied over. Pretty simple. Yeah, there we go. So I have to open up an old project and just check on that one. So what I'll do is, again, like last video, it's lovely and sunny. Go and enjoy some outside for half an hour. Come back, fix this bug, and I think I want to show the ladder next because I think that appears in this block of 10 before we get onto the next block. Yeah, there it is. So we'll get onto these ones because even though like this level looks the same, there's this one. There's a difference to where the home is, the goal, the exit, shall I say? It's the living title of it. And I'll explain what the two differences mean. So thank you very much. If you like the video, got any comments or questions or want to subscribe or anything like that, let me know. And thank you very much and see you next time.